Okay. Yeah, we got some works to see. Let me show it. Okay. This is from you can say your name, please. Ecom.
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 Ecom said he used soap, can soap.
I used liquid soap, and I didn't use the single shin. I used a mixture. It's kind of semi.
Yeah, I'm very
It worked
pleased
a little
that
better.
the shape of the needles mountain looks really good. It's hard to control to maintain that shape. Just reduce the soap so it will be less fussy maybe. You're about there. Then keep all the background same as possible, and you create the dark by overlapping, not by change the value. So you make a whole bowl of the solution or the mix of the color and the ink.
Is the dark too dark?
Because you did it with different tonality or value instead of overlapping. So it's a different approach. You didn't overlap that much, right? You did it just like a regular painting. Yeah. Yeah, there's an overlapping I see on the right side and in the front, but the entire painting should be done in entire background should be done in one single tone or value or darkness or lightness, I would say. Very light. I'll show you later.
Yeah, I started with the dark and then I did the light.
No dark. Everything you should do is the lightest, and then just by overlapping or repeating some part, overlapping. You know what I mean? You
right.
The depths. It's elusive. It's not like a realistic painting. It's decorative painting. Your painting is just like a conventional, too realistic. I see the aerial perspective. Your reason is aerial perspective, but we're not in that alley today. You understand? If you look at the original painting, you'll see what I mean. Using
it's a habit, you know.
Yeah, you have to change the concept, change the approach, change everything to get that. But your painting is beautiful for its own sake. If we don't, compare to the sample painting, your painting is beautiful. I'll give you a 5-star just for this painting without
thank you. So the value should be similar rather than.
Yeah, if you ask me how to get that effect, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
But your approach is you can you can pattern it yourself. no matter what you did, it's yours. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's move on to next person. If anybody, let me see. Let me ping people. I think Catherine has been.
It's Catherine Jasky.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. Okay, I see you have good value. That's what we're talking about. Just keep the color and the ink the same. Don't even change the hue. It should be done in one single mix.
No right. It should be a monochrome.
Yeah. And
monochrome, ink monochrome, or color, single value. Yeah. Right. So just overlapping them, and I see you have some kind of tonal change. Just use that.
I did. Also, I put some blue.
Don't load the brush with water. Just the pure. I'll show you. You can add water after the shape is made. You can create an aerial perspective by adding a little, cheat a little bit, so to speak, to get that dark. I was doing this yesterday, and I have a quite success. I'll share it with you later. Okay. Next person. Yeah, I think we concentrate on the technical part. I mean, just the tricks. The composition is different story. You can always do it too, without this special effect. So let's move on. You can unmute yourself, and the next person can unmute herself or himself. So we're in speaker view. So whoever speaks should pop, right? let me go to Barbara. I can ping Barbara. Okay. Barbara, yeah, I see you have more a traditional approach, but it's nice. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's nice. I've seen the blotting effect. Maybe you did it in 2 layers. If
I sprayed it
oh, you sprayed
with
yes.
water.
Spray water. Okay. Spray
After
water
I ironed it.
will make the edge a little fuzzy. You know, if you want to
Yeah.
keep the edge clean, you should do it wet on dry, and let the wet pens to create the contour. So the lower part is interesting with the smearing, seeking, what do you call the seeping technique, right? I like
Thank you.
the iron pattern you created. I always like that too. Yeah,
I was dying to see what that would do.
yeah, great. So keep experimenting. Next person, let me see who want to. Let me see who's holding. Okay, Emily we have a beautiful one. I want to see. Let me replace. Okay, Emily's value is really nice. I like the transparency. It could be even lighter, but I think the middle mountain is probably too high. You got horizontal landscape composition.
This one or this one?
Yeah. The middle one. Yeah, the mound, the rounded, the mound. I mean the rounded.
This one.
Yeah, this should be lower so that to create the contrast. This part should be downplayed with if we emphasize on the verticals. So you know, basically it's vertical mountain with only the horizontal tree line. This is something like a transitional. You know, it could be just the bottom of those needle peaks. Understand? You could paint this triangular shape as base to support the needles. That's should be integral part, not just 2 different kind of shapes. I do like the overlapping. Just you know, maybe the ink is a little muddy. You can use fresh ink to keep it clean, I think, or lighter, just lighter ink. We still try to find out the translucency. I think that's you can. I'll show you how to do that to make it more translucent. Okay.
What I wasn't happy about, I really loved in the models how the ink made that nice line.
Yeah. I'll show you how to do that a bit later. I see that everybody has the same challenge here.
I did some experimenting after the class though with different things, and I got some marks. Like here was a mark that.
Yeah, you got that. That's exactly what we need. Yeah.
But I was using something. It's called sumifactant. It's a soap-like substance that you use in paper marbling.
Interesting.
In Chinese paper marbling, it's kind of like photo flow that you use in developing film, you know, the old-fashioned way.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway, that's what made this mark, and so I wanted.
Everybody will find their secret. I have that MWay cleaner. That one helped me to get the effect. So you have to test different amounts. Maybe just a little bit of this or that would do. You know, so. It's all already in your home. You just experiment. I think you don't have to buy new things. You just keep experimenting. Okay. Who I got Chakram. Let me pin you. Make replacement. Okay. Oh, I like the light mountain. You do have some definition of the lines. the problem might be, some smearing outside the contour. That could be avoided by some water control. So you can use, I realized that I have to use a stiff brush. It load less ink to do the mountain. It gives me more angular shape also. I'll show you a bit later, but you're getting there. Very nice. I see, and keep the tone, the hue the same for all the mountains. So, and yeah, just paint wet on dry will have more definition, I think. The trees on the bottom, no problem. Yeah, it could be a little more integral, just more abstract. Just to match the style. Okay, very good. Well done. Let me see. Anybody else want to share? I do have a lot of homework submitted in the online. I already made a comment, so I will not repeat those. Okay. If you're interested in after class or before class discussion, you can join the online class, which is a different class, but it's kind of overlapping a little bit here with the Zoom. Anyway, I'm going to show you this piece I did last night just before sleep. I got some ideas I tested just with
Excuse me,
leftover.
I have a question.
Okay.
Are we gonna need just ink and different tones of ink for today?
Basically, yes.
Okay, just ink and different tones of black.
Water, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You need a little bit watercolor, maybe primary colors like one blue, transparent yellow, transparent red. That's all you need.
Okay.
Okay. Let me. Okay. Okay, here we go. You see my table on the upper. Actually, let me move it to this side. Okay, this is my water. Actually, I just leave it on this corner so it will not block the view. Okay, this is the water supply. I mean the paint supply here to do. I did this. I didn't wash it. I just want to share, with you the real thing. The real. So I wish I could repeat this. I think it was done on treated paper. You can see the marks, and it's very clean. Very. I do have some iron texture. I think if you want to avoid that, you can use a hair dryer. Let me put this away.
Henry, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Does the hair dryer help blow the ink to the edges?
It could. If you have lots of ink, you can reduce the power just using a slow fan. Let me put on a painting here. Let's see if you can see that. It doesn't pop. Okay, here's a lotus by the same artist, Chen Jialing, with the same technique. The landscape technique. Okay, we can do this one because for the time being we don't have to worry about the mountain shape. So let's try this. And let me share with you what I did after this painting and another one, I think. Okay, I did this one after this. not very successful, but you can see. And I also tried a different approach I'll share with you, suggested by Mr. Yang, if he's still here. I'm not sure.
But I
Anyway,
don't have any more soapy paper. I didn't prepare any soapy paper for today.
oh, you don't have to use soapy paper.
Oh,
Let
okay.
me pinpoint my spotlight for everybody. Okay. You don't have to use the soapy paper, just use the soapy. You don't have to do after me if you are not prepared, because you probably just learn from my experience. Okay, just take notes. Yeah, take notes. I think Chen Jialin is more of a thinker, as he described himself, than painter. He thinks more than he paints. You understand? He's not taking chance. He tried to make accidental into controlled process. So you have to think a lot. If you purely try it on based on luck, you won't get it. I think I got some stains here, so hope not bother you. Try to get a corner with it clean. Okay, so this paper is not treated. Okay, let me, I try to explain the basic concept. How do you get that puddle effect? So I just use my dishwasher, my brush washers left over from last night. I did have a drop of the cleaner, the hand soap kind of, the all-purpose cleaner in it. I think any kind of soap should do that. This sample painting has a little bit tint of blue, so I add a little bit, same cello blue to it. But if you just use ink, it should be fine. So I can test on a piece of paper the darkness. Let me see. I could use Wesley paper, but find it. Let's take another sheet. So we can use a test piece side by side. Let me see. I just test on this side because it's closer to my. So this is too light. Could be too light. I think it changed overnight. It may be thing. I will add a little bit. Ideally, I will add fresh ink, as I find fresh ink is more likely to produce the contour line of the shape. Maybe just a drop of that. I'll share with you the. So I'm not going to make. I'm not going to use palette in this case. I just use this bowl, and I should have a. I'll use the soft brush as a spoon, just adding those into the mix until I find the uniform color. Okay, and I do a test again. Okay, it's translucent, but doesn't have the darkness yet, right? You're not supposed to see that. Let me just show you this. And if you just put a clean water after this flat, this stroke, original stroke, extended to So you don't iron right away. I think I made this mistake. Let me really see the. I think the color doesn't really look right. It's better, right? Okay, can you see that? Look at this. Let me zoom in. Want you see the. Okay. So you wait a minute, you'll start to create the line, and then my idea is don't set it to let it go. So remember, he's the forward processing, go stop. So you have to let it go to when you see the effect stop. It won't happen under the iron, you know, the iron or hair dryer is to keep. So if you don't see that, you can still manipulate it. So don't add moisture until it has dried a little bit. So you have room. You add moisture in the center, it will drive the. It's same idea like you create the flame. So the ink will bleed to the margin. It's a challenge that you keep the shape, and the idea is to do it in the right moment, so it doesn't smear to blur your shape. So this is a clean water, right? So I just add water. Maybe you can just do it like a stroke. You don't have to do little by little. See that drive, but if you add too much, it will start to you will destroy the shape and make it fluffy. So that's a challenge. Another thing I tried to control the shape a little better is to add a little peach sap. See, I got a little peach sap here. I added, but not too much. Again, everything, if we overdo it, it will create a problem. You will not smear, or you will not, you know, it doesn't, don't overdo that. So let me just add a little bit. So we do another test. So let's try to do a shape. Maybe a little angular shape, like a square shape, because it gives you a little more value. It smells less, maybe. Let's see. So I'll try to do a square. See if we can control the shape better with a little more with a little screw, peach sap glue. If you don't have time, you know, sometimes like we did the blotting, right? Blotting will take moisture away for the reason that you add something. If you you know, for no reason, you should let it act, you know, give a little more time to let the ink to do its work. If you blot, it will fix the process. Okay, let me just try to add a little water to the center. So this will create luminosity. See, and you can use I tried to do it with drier, a damp brush instead of very wet brush. You can see this is the too much water, it would destroy the shape. So this water, and you can just let it smear in, like this is what it does. It creates bleed inside bleed, not to drive the shape, to expand the shape, but within the shape that create you can just leave the brush for a while, for a second, let it.
So Henry, that's only water, right?
Water. You can add if it's. That's a very good question. You could add a little bit, whatever soap water. That will make it even lighter. But it depends on your purpose. You can wash it out with, if it's too much, you'll make it completely white. We don't want that, right? We want some leftover, some value still. So if the edge is 3, we want 1 in the middle, maybe not 0. If you use detergent water, I think I maybe have some there. It might be too white. See here, it's a little bit too white, I think. Anyway, if it's not enough, you will not. So this is what I got, the edge. It still takes practice, right? But we just give you some idea. So you do it in two steps instead of, and you can if you're more experienced, you can try to do it in one brush, but you like a double load. But it's kind of hard to do it without gradation. So if you create a shape like with the dark in on the tip, maybe use the bottom in the middle. I think maybe you do it like keep the light in it. That would be painting, not really natural, I think. So I think for the rendering approach, not painting approach, you can try to render it, even with some blurry edge, which is good. You don't have to get 100% contour. There's some blurry here, some hard, some clear here. See, that's nice, right? So let's do a lotus quickly. The idea is to let it smear from the center. So the stroke that I'm doing is narrower than what I want, all right? And we do it in 2 applications. You can do a T shape or 2 Y shapes, and then the vertical Y and the vertical something like a reversed E or something on the right side. Okay, so let's do that. Let me show you one. I can reload, of course, and you can combine, by when it's still wet, you can combine without a watermark. The reason we treat the paper is to remove the watermark. Actually, not treat, this paper is not treated. I'm sorry. The reason I add soap to this liquid is to remove the watermark. If you do it without the soap, you cannot combine 2 strokes, basically. It will create a white line, a watermark between 2 strokes, right? So that's why we add a little bit bubble. You see a little bubble here, bubble. I don't know how much, it was maybe just one push when you wash your, it's too much. It's much less than that, like a 1 eye drop, I would say. Yeah. So start from little. The less is more. The little, the better. Okay. So I'll do another, just almost like a repeating shape. Like I start to do on this side. You can roll the brush if you have some kind of resistor. It's going to break the paper. You just roll it, right? below it. Okay, and he probably did it with a hacky brush, a flat brush. You don't have to use a flat brush. Okay, now you can just leave it for a while, let it to expand, and then when it's half dry, it's most effective when it's halfway dry. You can use a hair dryer. I have a small one, so I don't have to mute the sun. Oops. So I just dry the center area a little bit, and I will put some water, some clean water. The reason I dry it is to give them some room. Otherwise, it will expand. You will expand too much. Okay, now let's do just the clean water. I think he probably didn't do it because I don't see two brush strokes. Don't ask me what he did. I don't know. I have no idea what he did. Okay, you can see my hand on this side. So I have one kind of clean water. Okay. Just I think this application doesn't have to be in one stroke. It could be like this, because you just add water, not adding any brush traces. Okay, you can do this. See, you can leave the brush if you want. You can leave the brush on the paper for a while. Just let it bleed from the center, which may be more effective than you paint it. Because when you paint it, it starts to bleed too much. So that edge moves. If you want to keep the edge, the shape, you just do the center and then let the time. Give it time. Let the water do the walking for you. Okay, and I did this with almost like a repeating stroke. That creates the fluffy, the feathery edge. So I more like this. And if you see something is happening, and if you like, you can try. You can use iron actually. I'll put a piece of paper on top because but sometimes this paper may create the texture. So let me just use the smooth side facing, and I don't press that much. I realize if I press, it might create more creases, right? Or maybe the opposite. Should I press more to avoid? Let's try it. Which way works best? Maybe just not too hard. Okay. Whatever. I think the water drive the line too far, so it creates a double line. I got some ink on the hat. That's not good. So after the initial, I think I got some chemical happening here. Got nice salt effect. That's good. I like that. So after this one is set, you can use hair dryer. I think hair dryer may be safer to avoid all the accidents. Let me just sorry for the noise. Okay, this is to avoid to set it first before we add another layer. I should zoom out so you can see the whole thing, right? There. Okay, so I'm using this same as this to overlap. You see the original here? Okay. So I'm going to do the horizontal or vertical, sorry. Just do a kind of horizontal and vertical stroke like we did earlier. This is representing the shape of the lotus leaf, you know, like the umbrella. And this one we change a little bit into a 3-stroke, like an E or something. There. Oops. I like to keep that little white. This one overlaps all the way here. You should paint a little smaller than you expect, so give room to expand. I already have a much larger shape than I want. Maybe I should add another stroke somewhere. It's kind of hard to combine 2 strokes, even after just the initial one. You probably cannot really do that. With this is the nature of rice paper, right? So it's kind of hard to. So you have to do one stroke in 1 stroke. Yeah. Okay, that's. You don't have to. You know, if you already see some nice effect, it happens usually on the overlapping part easier. The second layer usually easier to create the edges, the line, the dark line. In this part, you see it's soft. So maybe I would help a little bit by adding a little water here. And that, you know, the stroke doesn't help. Maybe because I already have the shape from the stroke. So I want to manipulate the center a little bit. So I add a little moisture just in the middle of the shape, the initial shape. And I can also just do that because the 2 layers are not going to blend. I'm not going to destroy the first layer. So if you want to the white expand to the center, I mean from center to the edge, you don't help by You don't move the brush away from the center. You just repeat gently, you know, where, so it's not going to break the paper. Just add water in the center, you know, maybe 10 times. Dry, you know, with a relatively dry brush. Just repeat this. It will not create any brush trace, but it drives the dark to the edge. That's what we want. You can have a little bit soap in the brush. If it doesn't, I think water should do already, because we already have soap in the original mix. So I'm going to do this so you can see. I just add clean water in the center. You know, if it's too clean, it will make it maybe too transparent. So that's an artistic judgment you need to make. If you want to have lighter, or I want to just experiment now. So just add the center, repeat the center. Try to avoid any brush trace. Just clean brush in the center. You know, if you add a lot of water it might expand. So that's why I use a damp brush, wet brush, but not dripping brush. Okay, so I can go slower. Chen has a spirit of like a, you know, Liu Kuosung we will talk about today, like a scientist. He experiments like a scientist, and he can control his accidental effect. That's why he's a master in this field. Everybody have luck, but not everybody have control like him. So to avoid breaking the paper, just you know, barely touch the paper with a soft brush. You just do that. Okay. The dark is the you can remove the penetrate ink before you iron. You can do that. Otherwise, it will come back. Right? Do you have that experience? You got some dots. Sometimes it's nice with landscape. You create like a vegetation. And sometimes we want it clean. So that's it, right? I'm going to heat set it now. Oops, this paper is too wet. So when it's wet, I don't use any pressure. I just gliding on the paper. Let the heat just work. Not any pressure at all. Yeah, there's a lot of bubbles with iron, so maybe it's better choice to use a hair dryer. But you can see the concept of a single monochrome painting with overlapping. But since I used the water, so maybe the overlapping part is you know, some of his overlapping has that square. So if you want to keep that square darker than the like this part should be lighter, right? I got some dark. I think that's the illusion. The dark is under. See, this is already very. Your pad should be clean if you want to see the color. This is already too white. I just realized that I got some stain on the pad. but you know, it's all lessons to learn. You cannot really have a clean pad all the time, right? So sometimes you have to see the truth without being misled by those kind of things. Right? The next trick I learned from Mr. Yang is that he said he will use something like this, a mesh on top of the paper. This is a cooking tool for steamer. You put on this water steamer, you know, for barns, steam barns, they will not stick. So it's not very ideal because the water may not penetrate. You know, it will stay on top. So I will use some kind of knock, some noise. I'll make some noise maybe in the process. So just not be scared if I do that. So to knock it down. Okay, you can see the test I did here. I don't have room for that pot anymore. Maybe I just do a small flower bud or something instead. So let me go to another painting that has more stems as a reference. Okay. Yeah, you can do something like that. I think this one has a lot of stems. Oops, I don't see the change. Let me just close it. I got too many windows open. I don't know which one is that. Oh, I closed it. Sorry. Okay, that's the one. It's more stems. So it's let's just have fun. Okay, I'm going to use dark ink. I'll just use this brush with dark ink. Very black. We want the contrast. So some more. It's a flower and birds painting, but I think many of you may be interested in learning anyway. So let's try just do a 7-shaped stroke there. Oops, I think I got too much already. I sanded it to remove the anti-stick function. So now it's kind of too much. Maybe I should reduce the ink supply on this. So you can use a dry brush. Actually, you can just draw a line and then I just like, see that's the dots. See the dots here? It's what I want. So you can, if not enough, you can add a little more. Just okay. Let me do some more.
Henry, can you use unsized Xuan on the top layer?
Yeah, but it doesn't have that little round dots as you see. You can dot it. You can dot it with a thin paper. Yeah, that's very likely what he probably also did. You can dot it on the top. So it's not a direct, dot. You can dot it directly, but it will be more natural to have something in between. Okay.
Where can you get this steam paper?
Oh, on Amazon. Victoria, what's the name of it? I think it's very useful if you do Chinese, if you have steamer. We used to have all the, if you use frozen food and steam to heat it, they always stick on the metal.
It's called silicone mat for steamer.
Silicone mat for steamer on Amazon
Okay, silicone mat
for
for
steamer. Yeah.
steamer. Thank you.
If you nowadays we always buy like frozen food like buns, baozi, right? Stuffed steamed bread. You steam it with this. It will not stick on the steamer anymore. It's very good.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay. I'm going to do just for fun. I don't need to consider what really. So I just draw like a regular painting, just have a line there, and I just maybe add a little dots in the, just like I dot those hairy thorn, and then take a look. If not enough, I just knock it like this. You can use the fingertips. Just rub it, Like, I don't know what the word to use, verb to use this. Knocking, yeah. Knocking it down. Or you can use your side palm. Just do it to the whole line. Like it. If not enough, you can repeat it a little bit. You can dot it to one hole at a time. That will take some time. So just repeat a little bit. I should have to go slow so I have more control. See, I got that, right? It's not a painting anymore. It's a rendering, making. As in Liu Kuosung's words, Liu Kuosung, the artist from Taiwan, he has a very powerful statement, like abandon all the the brush stroke instead of using texture or other lines. He said the artist should produce products like a scientist with the same spirit in the lab. Okay, so you experiment. So that started the whole trend of rendering effect like this. See, that's the line I got. And if you want, you can add a little to this corner, maybe. Let's see. I think just a short line, something. Lead your eyes. The line gives you directions in the composition. So I just add short line. Yeah, I got it. And I use clean brush. I find that the color on rice paper bleeds more, the watercolor, than Chinese color actually. So I just use regular watercolor here. This is the color I carry outside to paint when I do plein air. So I just add a little color. Let me just add the flower there. See, just let it bleed from the middle. Same idea to create the the edge. And we can do a smaller one here. Just the one. That's it, I think. And you can make the top one larger if you want, if we have time. Let's see. Let's exhaust the brush, basically. Okay. So the same concept and the same technique with the landscape. So a lot of landscape artists like to paint lotus, maybe because the technique and the abstraction part is the same. Okay, so this silicone matte is something new, right? Okay, now we have to switch to today's agenda.
That was so much fun. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Have fun. Keep doing that. By the way, next time we will learn the teacher, the mentor of Chen Yanling's. Chen Yanling's teacher, Lu Yanshao, will go back to tradition, but he has a unique personal style. And we can come back to Chen Yanling as well if we need. I will. You know, we have 8 classes ahead. So every class will review this the first one until we get it, right? Just take your time. Okay, today we're going to study this artist, very experimental. He's the pioneer in modern Chinese ink painting. His name is Liu Kuosung. Let me pin this up. It's my water. Yeah, he created a special paper in the 1960s and started to do this kind of experiment on ink painting. He had several series. The early one is Icy Landscape and Space Landscape. Okay. Have you read the article I sent you before the class last weekend?
Yes.
Do you know? Do you recognize this picture?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, it's very moving. That paragraph is written by me.
Yes.
The other I copied from the Google. I was really moved by his because I didn't realize he was a war orphan during the World War II. His father was killed by Japanese in the battlefield of Wuhan. You know Wuhan, right? And he was raised by his mother. And Huang Ping, maybe you can talk about a little bit your mother's involvement in helping the war orphan.
Yeah, that's the orphanage. My
Orphanage.
mother, yeah, they call the war care children orphanage, something like that.
Yeah, the head sponsor is President Chiang Kai-shek, Madam Chiang Kai-shek, right?
Yeah.
So your mother worked with Madam Mei-ling. It's how to say what his English name, Madam Chiang Kai-shek, to in raising helping the war orphan. Yeah, he was one of them, and he was 17 or in high school when the communists took over the mainland. He was in Nanjing actually. Then he left China mainland to Taiwan with his school, with other leftover offsprings from the war. So his mother remained in Wuhan after 1949. When China was reopened in 80s, he was one of the earliest Taiwanese to visit mainland to see the relatives on the mainland after almost 30 years of separation. My father didn't have any chance to see his family again. Actually, my father was the only one left in mainland, and my grandfather, grandparents, and 4 other uncles and aunts all went to Taiwan after 1949, before 1949. So my aunt was returned to China from Thailand, actually with uncle. They are about the same age as Mr. Liu. They left in their teen age to Taiwan. So this is the historical background. So when in Taiwan, he was enrolled in art school, normal university. I think under Huang Junbi at that time, we studied, and he studied Western painting in addition to Chinese painting he already learned in mainland China. And this painting was did as expression of his emotion, missing his mother, entitled "Where's My Mom?" So he would cry in the night in the outside the school. Anyway, but he after he graduated, he started a movement called the Fifth Month group, yeah. And now he's 89. This picture was taken recently. He's still working on the floor here, you see, and in good health. He wished he could paint until 100 in the same style he's kept doing, and we're going to study. Okay, and his work is basically trademarked by this kind of trademarks, like those white lines depicting the outer space, like see from sky. So we are right in the age of space traveling. In 1960s, he was inspired by the first landing of a human on the moon, right? I think actually he did that. He captured that moment with astronauts working on the moon. I didn't save that painting, but he has moon series inspired by that historical event, and this is his most latest painting in the series of icy, like Himalayan mountain, I think. Yeah, and this is his early work, and that's what I'm going to try. I think I tried to find that piece I sent you from a book. This one is called "Where's Earth?" It's the space series. He also has a series called this one is the painting we're going to yeah. This one is what we're going to do. He has a picture standing by this painting in the first show of the Fifth Month group in 1964. Okay, look at the painting behind him, and this is he with his representational work. This painting was collected by an American collector. Yeah, that's his earliest. Usually, the first painting is the best. This is his technique. He doesn't like Chen Yaling. He would show people how to do this, but you don't have that paper he made in the 60s, still using the same bark. So it's 2-layered with some rough tree barks, mulberry tree barks in the middle, and then he will peel it off. This hand is his wife doing the work for him. So it peeled off the entire back side. He painted from the back. So the fiber, heavy fiber, block ink to create the white texture. And he considered the white lines in his ink painting. So he abandoned the traditional brush calligraphy, lines. So it's very revolutionary. Okay, and he also does something similar like seeping ink or smearing blotting effect as Chen Yaning, like this kind of wet blotting or monotyping or something. I use plexiglass to do that. So in my my college years, he had a tour in 18 cities in mainland. The top provincial gallery showed his paintings. I had the chance to see the originals of his work and was really impressed, and started to do my own experiment with crinkling paper and whatever we could get the texture, crinkling paper, blotting on glass, crinkling paper on plexiglass or just glass. I don't have plastic glass at the time. I want to, this is the latest, from the latest documentary in that video, how this texture was created. Okay, let me show a painting I did in the late 80s. When I come to this country, I still do this experiment. See, this is the one I did in a class. I poured ink color on the a piece of plastic glass, and I wrinkled the paper without flattening the paper. So some part is like higher and some low, right? And I blotted with my controlled, my palm. I'll show you a little bit later. So, and then I added the dark with brush. This initial dark is there, and the sky was added. So it's probably 30% brush painting, monotype, just single print from God. It's not exactly his approach, but you can see the concept of white and dark, yin and yang. He's a believer of Taoism, and his composition is almost like a Tai Chi symbol. Think about Tai Chi symbol, the black and white, when you copy his. Okay, let me go back to the representational work. Then we'll try to do that. Maybe I'll do an abstract. This is called Moon Series. Okay, maybe it's called what is called grass style series. The 草书 狂草 like a Zen brush, Zen stroke style. I'll call it. Yeah, makes sense. So let's try this first. So I got some paper here. I tried on this. This is the Mulberry number 2 with the stringing fiber, particularly this number 2B. We have now stored is a thinner one. You can see if I paint on one side, the other side will reveal the texture, right? And I have a watercolor painting did this way. I use this paper. I did a wash on the back side like that, and I mounted it on the regular watercolor paper, and then I added the flowers in my front door. These 2 trees actually is in our front door porch. Do you see the effect? How do you like it? That's basically Kuosung's approach. See his white texture in the brushwork. That's the idea. So on the front, I mean the side you paint on is like this. And he will do his painting later on the other side. I don't know which one is the front and back. Let's say side A, side B. He will do it on the side B. This side A you paint on, and side B is what you continue to finish. Okay. The concept is very simple. Unlike Chen Jialing's approach, the technical part is very simple. It won't, have much risk or chances to take. Let me try this one first. I got that cypress tree branches, a leaf needles here. So let's see what happens if we. And I use this water-based glue. Someone asked what I use. You could use the regular white glue. This one I got from our daughter Amy. What is the styro glue? Styro, I don't know what this means, but it's water-based, non-toxic. So
It's for styrofoam.
Styrofoam, right? For styrofoam, right? Styrofoam is what form? I'm not familiar with that. Styrofoam form. For styrofoam, what's that? Anyway, am I making misuse of this? I'm not sure.
That's the stuff that the meat is put on at the meat shop in the grocery store. The meat is sitting on styrofoam.
Oh, I don't know why we have this at home, but this is from her art class. I believe it's probably from printing class. I don't know what's used in the school, but we just got a whole bunch of this kind of stuff. Anyway, let me use a soft brush. I just use pure ink, dark ink, and just, oops. This paper is not taking. Let me see. Okay, here we go. This paper is almost like a sized, I don't know. Sized paper. Yeah, semi-sized maybe. So I just paint on top of the branches. Maybe it's not blotting it, but I hope. Let me cut it off. I got. I use a metal board underneath, so it's not going to stain my table. You can use plastic glass or piece of plastic tabletop if you want. It doesn't matter if it goes outside. I try to get it. It doesn't work. I don't have the white lines. Even I had that. So it's not part of, because it's not part of the fabric. It's not working. Let me just take it out. Oh, I do have traces on this side. Okay, that's good. I think the glue melted with water because it's water based. The styro glue kind of lose it when I got water. So that created the icy tree here. You cannot really see the contrast. It's too low. Let me put it on against the light. You will see it. I just put again. This is a gift from Amy. My Christmas gift several years ago. See, See the tree create a little, you just let it dry, and we'll come back to this. Clean this. At this point, I just go with some effect. We don't do any controlled composition in this style. I don't know if Liu also keep this open. I think at first, you create just some like a marble stone, marble rock. Then you crop it, you make it into something to finish. I think that's my approach. If you try to control everything in the beginning, then it's become frustrating. So just have fun. So in this case, I have the branches in between, and I just paint on either side. I think let's just do any side, and I realize I have to use more ink. You can use the spray water to spray the dark to get to kind of make an interesting smearing effect. But I like the moonscape on the left. So let me just do it in the calligraphy, Zen calligraphy way. I got no more ink here. Let me see. I just use very common in the States. You can get it online if you use a lot of ink. This is relatively cheap and good to use. Permanent ink, Sumi ink. It's called Sumi ink, I think. Black Sumi ink. Okay. I'll just kind of do that. Because it pumps, so you see some white there on this side. I just try to cover all the branches, but kind of like Zen, like writing a character. That could be at the bottom in the end. And I'm thinking to spray some water maybe on the other side. Let it penetrate. It doesn't come through, so maybe will help a little bit by guiding it. So you guide the water with moisture usually will help too. Then you can blot it, I think. Let's just do this. This is my blotting paper. Because this is not exactly his paper, so we don't know what his actual procedure. But according to the documentary, he does the first initial effect on the back side, and then he would peel off that layer, and then we'll keep working. I didn't get anything on this side, so I just remove it. I think I'll remove this side instead. See if we can get. I'll just remove the. Oops! It doesn't give me any luck because the paper just got torn. Sorry for the Yes, but you can see some nice effect there. Maybe we can use half page or something. I think the glue has to be wet to be released. So I just wet the whole thing. Maybe it will help. The styro glue I use. Then that destroyed my calligraphy. Anyway, this may not work. Okay, come off now. Do I have any whiteness there? Probably not. I thought the glue would serve as a masking fluid, but not, because this glue is water soluble glue, so that really does not create the lines. Maybe you use a different glue, you'll get better white. This part just broken, so I would patch it probably. Football always does this. If the tree is dead, you know, with dead black, he'll poke a hole like this, and he'll ask the mounting master. He has a mounting master in another room in his home probably, and do the mounting for him, and then he come back to finish after that. So you can mount, and that paper will become semi-sized actually after mounting. But this experiment is just show you some ideas with the fiber. So it might not work. I just you learn from a lesson, so you don't have to repeat this. Maybe that's the reason I show you. I'm showing you this. And what works is the plastic glass crinkling or crumbled paper to simulate the same effect, but without using this special paper, without doing any paper making. It's a different industry. Okay. Now, what time? We have half an hour. Good. Plexiglass. This metal piece is too slippery, maybe. So I use a plexiglass, which I sand it on the one side with a sandpaper to make it rough, so it will take ink. Okay, and you can then use a piece of paper. I got some nice paper here. So this is a Mulberry number 4, you know, store. It's a number 1 doesn't have any stringing fiber. Number 2 has stringing fiber. Number 3 is unbleached. Number 4 is the same as number 2 with a stringing fiber, but also sparkles for gold. So with the golden flakes, that's what I use. And I crumble the paper loosely, not from a hard, like that. Maybe, you know, wrinkle some part like this. All right, and then let me change the reference to this will be a good one also. Should we do this? This is simpler than the one that his representational work is best, I think. Where's that? Okay, this one. I think this is similar, yeah, similar to it. So let's do this. Maybe we end up with the other one. Remember, if you do plotting, it will be mirrored, but since we use the wrong side, it will come back. So we just do the right image. What we see is what we get. Right? So and then we plot it on the back side. It will be correct. So it will be the same way. If you use the front side, make a copy, it will be mirrored. You understand? So if you want to keep this, let's see the size. It's a vertical, right? Vertical, it will be like that. That's quite large. Or we just do half page. We don't have time to do the large one, I think. This is 9 by 13, approximately. Okay, 9 by 6. So we'll make a plot like that. Okay. Just draw a rough frame. This is outside, but I just keep track on that. Okay. Now I'm going to draw this mountains like that. Just the stroke. And
so
you have
drawing,
yes.
You're drawing on the glass.
Yeah, I'm drawing on the glass. Right, I paint on the glass, and you can.
So we need to buy the glass.
The plexiglass.
Yeah.
Plexiglass, the plastic glass. I sanded it. And you can you can find it in Home Depot. They sell this kind of, and I spray this side a little bit to make it softer. Just clean water. Just spray a little bit. Not too much, it will blur. Okay, now I kind of I try to create some wrinkle effect. You can control a little bit, but not too much. Right, and the front side facing you, not the facing down. Okay, so there's a side with the gold flakes. Oh, sorry, I made a mistake already. So I keep that up. So I blot it from the back. See, I use my finger to control how much ink I want. I skip some between the fingers. That create some for the white, you know. And then the challenge is if you use this side, it's kind of light. Probably we'll have to use paint to add a little. So just, it's already dry. If it doesn't work, I just do a mirror image. I'm sure that side is good enough. You can maybe cheat a little bit by adding the dark without lifting it, you know, just paint it on. I think he has brush strokes, although he said he will abandon stroke. You see his brush strokes everywhere. So that's his theory sometimes, you know, doesn't really illustrate, his work doesn't illustrate his theory. You know, he still use brush, like traditional approach, because he's a trend in classic literary painting. See, if you like some idea, you know, like I see a beautiful rock, I just leave it. So don't destroy anything good because of it's not easy, I mean, not possible to copy the original painting. So if you have your habit is excellent, just keep it. Okay, and this way, he has this concept of dark shadow, you know, like I see the light coming from left. Maybe, yeah, I see some cast kind of shadow. We'll just paint on the wrinkled paper. You get some white lines, cracks. Yeah, paint. Just, you know, you can use you can squeeze the paper and get that ridge of paint that ridge of this dark, the dark against the light. And here's a side, this is the side, this is the shady side. Also, I think he considered more like yin and yang in traditional landscape, just the contrast and some cube kind of shape there. It's an icy landscape. Probably we can lift it and paint from, you know, the other side. It's more coherent. Okay. And some kind of squarish abstract cube kind of idea creates some modern feel of cubism, or, you know, whatever, the abstract art. And you can use just the clean water to guide the ink, just blur the ink a little bit, create this kind of sun. And then the white line of snow, you save it. You can, and then just that create a sense of snow, ice, snowy mountain. He went to Tibet in the early of this century, maybe, or in the 90s, I think. He lost his one of his ear there for some reason. Because he forgot time. He spent supposedly just 1 hour there observing, sketching. He spent 4 hours or 3 hours, maybe 4.5 hours, I think. And then his left ear lost hearing ability. So this a little bit negative painting to squeeze out that line of the top. Because the paper is crinkled, so if you just skiding on top of that, you get this kind of texture, like icy, like what's called a glacier. Okay. And then you let it dry, then you wash more with light. I don't think there any color, but he also used some mineral color or indigo to, or bronze sometimes, to add to it. So basically just black and gray will do. And this could be dark. So this is the side like a cube. So you have to sacrifice some nice stroke too early, to say, but concentrate on the wholeness of it. So there's some details on this side. I think it's created from the fiber, but I just simulate that with some stroke on crinkled paper without paint too much. You just kind of rub it gently on top. You create that kind of texture without using the fiber in the paper, that kind of complex process. So that creates same kind of feel. Done? Okay, let's see. Lift it. Add some more grays. I want to keep it the contrast, the blot. There's too much white here. I want to kind of consolidate some, eliminate some, so the contrast is simple and strong. But there's variety also in Unity. Always. You don't have to copy exactly, but you got the concept, dark against the light, yin and yang. Doesn't really concern with the lighting of light, because he was on the mountain. He says sometimes the mountain is shining white in sunshine, and suddenly there's clouds come and it turns everything gray and cloudy. So it's so dramatic, different every moment. So he tried to capture that kind of changing light. I think his has an overall kind of diagonal, goes this way from the imaginative light source. So if we put some light, I think it might help there. I'm not sure about, oops, I got some dark skies, but that's good. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Just, I was thinking to darken the sky a little bit to show the white, because otherwise the white doesn't really show. To avoid blur, if you want to keep some hard shapes in the background, you can dry it, but since it's background, I can just soften it with some water. Okay. I think I have to lift it so that I can, you can dry it with iron, but I think iron will create more textures. If you want the way it is, maybe use a hair dryer, the best. Let me just move this. I think the water maybe destroy all the snow effect there. I still have some texture. It's okay. The background should be less detailed, so that's okay to keep it simple. Generally, this should be lighter, right? So how to make it lighter? You can lift a little bit, maybe. I put 2 layers, 1 layer behind, 1 layer on top. And before it gets dry, you blot it. That way it will be lighter, I hope. It just blot a little away, and also on the bottom. See? So that makes this area a little lighter than that. Hopefully, this one also you need to blot it if you want. You can use the clean water after this dry a little bit. Before it completely dry, you can add some water, and it will be, but don't overdo it because it might too light. It will turn lighter after dry, after dries, but it will come back after mounting. So it takes experience to see the true color, the true value. Yeah. Okay. If you want a little white back, maybe you can add a little detergent water that will create some white. It's not detergent water, just the light ink we used for the lotus practice. Let me just draw a little. That works. But don't use any white. You can let the chemical just work with the heat. Add a little water before it gets before it smears. You just heat it, but you will set it to whatever the tone, the value is. That's okay. I think there are a lot of things you can correct. You can make up, but try to do it in one shot. That's the best always. Don't lose the initial effect because that's usually is more dynamic and more natural. Then you created by human interference. Okay. And this edge is too hard. You want to soften it with a damp brush, not too wet. Just oops, I think it's already set with the iron. Actually, even it's already dried, if you use a little detergent, you may still lighten it, believe it or not, because the detergent can dissolve the ink, even it's already start to dry. And when you try to lighten it, put a piece of dry paper under it. That is blot from the back, and then another piece blot from the front. Okay, like that. So this will lighten the ink if you want, and it will also set it. Yeah. You know, sometimes when you don't want the edge, it appears. When you want it, it doesn't. Really interesting. Huh? It's a different paper. You can try the Chenjianing painting on rice paper, on mulberry paper, maybe. Same idea. You know, you put light in the stroke, and it will start to bleed. And this is too dark. It's supposed to be the background. And how we reduce that? Let's try. Just add a little water from outside. So you want to bleed outside in, right? So you can add a lot of water in the snow area, in the ice area, and just let it invade the dark area. Expand from outside, bleed from outside in. So water actually, in this case, preserve the white. Preserve the white from bleeding out. See, it will drive it back. It will drive it back to its base. And you can lead it to where you want. See, that helped to reduce that. You can blot it from the front. So this kind of experiment really help you to understand the behavior of the paper, the medium, the ink, water. So later when you paint traditional painting, you'll feel more comfortable because you already made friends with your medium, right? So yeah, that helps to reduce the ink. Put a piece of paper under it, and then the top, one clean piece on top, and then you can iron it. Iron is really you can pinpoint. Yeah, that's the idea. You can pinpoint area. See that the iron creates some white. It's interesting. The steam. It's interesting. So you can paint with iron. The other day I did a watercolor painting with iron on rice paper. It really helps. I can show you that. After frustration, during the frustration of Chen Yaling, I just did a watercolor without worry about hard lines, on this same paper, the treated paper. I use iron all the time, so I can see the color values. Still, it's overdone. It's too heavy on this mountain. Anyway, just the experiment. I think this one is. It's almost. I don't see any trees because there's a space like or the highest mountain in the world. We're on Earth, the snow mountain, icy mountain, so we don't see any vegetations. He has an idea of the space eye view, but not just bird's eye view, like a Google map. Nowadays because Earth and the moon escapes. Any questions on this?
Yes, Henry. Could we see inside the book, please?
Pardon me? The book?
Could we see inside the book? Yeah.
Oh, I don't have this copy. It's this provided by a student in my regular class. Her name is Linda Ann Grace. Thank you, Linda, for sharing that.
Okay.
Probably you can get a hold of this book on Amazon, used book. So she has this book, not just him, not just his, right? It's the collector's exhibition catalog. Li Zhujing, yeah, that's the very famous contemporary art collector in the States. And this one was traveled back to Taiwan earlier this year, to celebrate the artist retrospective. I don't know how many years retrospective, but this one is a very representational work of his. Obviously, he travels back to Kaohsiung, in his hometown, to show in Taiwan this year. This one is in the States. I think it's private collection by the family of this Li. Anyway, I didn't get exactly, but it's maybe enough to share, to show, what you could do with this. It has, when you deal with edges, like a hard, soft, you're in the end of the painting. So just it takes much more time to finish the last 5 to 10%. That makes the painting a masterpiece or amateur. Everybody can do the initial blotting, I think, here. Right? Understand? We have about 10 minutes. I have another piece to show you, maybe how it goes here. Let me take this one. This one. See if we can do more. Oh, this is the first the tree, the cypress tree one. It didn't create the white lines, unfortunately. But this shape is interesting, right? You can make it into a spacescape by maybe putting a moon there or something. Make a horizon, curved horizon or something. Maybe make it some area like a ocean seen from space or whatever. Just think about a bird's eye or satellite view of Earth, universe. And you can even turn it this way. So anyway, so blotting or painting on the back side and then the front side. You can also use this for other paintings. Like I have a branch. I did a class on bamboo painting in the library class on Tuesday, and this was fresh. I showed them the bamboo. Now I rubbed it. I didn't use any glue this time. I used just the tape, Scotch tape. So it's too tight. I'm going to make holes again. Yeah. It's too tight. Yeah, I don't really worry about the holes. Sometimes you can fix it when mount. It's better without that. Oh, no, okay, I did it. Don't miss too much. This one, okay. So you can see a silhouette of the branch. It could be some other trees than bamboo, but that's the idea. You use botanic elements in the paper to create some natural effect inspired by Kuosung's special paper. Okay, so this is more like a winter plant, right? Icicles or something. Yeah, we can use water resist, like the white ink. We have a transparency white. You can use alum to block, to create a mask. Sometimes you want to turn the paper, flip the paper, see if the back side is the front. It looks better. Yeah, let me know which side you prefer. This is the front side, but we blot it from this side. You may got more texture here, and it's interesting to see. Also, it's good to see from the back when you got tired after 40 minutes of doing on the front, you need to fresh your mind by flipping it, and then to have a fresh look of what needs to be done. So I still like the front better. Yeah, for some reason. Interesting. So they're not the same energy, I think. Although the texture is a little different, but I think the composition is better this way as the original. Let me just try it before I sign it. I will show you how to write a homage message. We have 5 minutes, roughly. Okay, let me protect the top with oh, I didn't try this rope, but I think you might not. It's not going to work as exactly, but that's the idea I was thinking to do. I'll do that later. Just to finish this. You can flat the paper, the crinkled paper, by ironing or just water, you know, and you wet the whole, spread the whole paper, let it dry. You will flatten it, and eventually you need to mount it. You need to mount it to remove the wrinkles. That's why he removed the heavy fibers, the texture after he painted the back, because otherwise it cannot be rolled. His painting is traveling, all over mainland in the 80s. They're all on the scrolls, I remember clearly, so that it could be easily carried, transport. Okay. This is dry, so I'm going to write, I think this is the area he signed. In contemporary art, we really try to keep the signature title minimum. In this case, everybody is in Liu Kuosung, right? I'll just write attribute line, small letters, maybe just a little taller. Just use a big brush, but this is my go-to brush. You can write little characters. A large brush actually help to it lasts longer. You don't have to reload. I write very tiny characters on purpose, so you don't destroy the sense of spacescape. Liu Kuosung. I write the traditional, as in Taiwan. He was born in Anhui province, but his hometown, ancestral hometown is Shandong, the northeast, east coast. 致敬 Liu Kuosung, homage to Liu Kuosung. The year of ox. I put it mid-autumn because this is a important holiday season. Just write under his name, I think. And my seal will go under here, on the side, maybe.
Would you zoom in on your calligraphy?
I'll show you. Okay. Usually it's under, but that will destroy that snow mountain. So we'll put on the side here. it's a hard surface under, so I have to kind of rotate a little bit. That actually he did the same thing. His seal is on the right side. Interesting. We think the same. Okay. That signature is on the side like this. Okay. And he did a signature and a year beside the seal. Okay. That's the. Let me zoom out, show you the whole composition again. And that's the finished piece. I'll send you a clear picture later after class. Maybe my gray is a little over. I wish the snows are wider. But I try to emphasize on this area because I grade the background a bit more. And there's some kind of mist here, clouds. It should be, but that's as a demo. I'm very pleased, and this is my first time after him, and I'll do more. You know, just start. And he really started us to do this kind of things in mainland China after the reopening of China to the west, to the rest of the world. It's a happy ending that I did see his mother's picture in Wuhan with him. I think he did see his mother in the 80s when he had a traveling show. And he's still very popular in China as a teacher and an exhibition artist. I have much better luck here today in the last second. Oops. It lived effortlessly, but I don't see much texture because it didn't penetrate through to the other sheet. But here, you know, I don't really see the rope, the hemp rope texture, but it probably create more pumping texture on the side I painted on. Oh, I do see one. See that one right there is from the hemp. The one I just removed. See that big texture there. So that's one. This one works. Untangled hemp rope with a little bit this styro glue. Still don't know what's that useful, but anyway, some kind of thin paste would do, and so it's so, you know, I just barely touched that, so that creates some additional texture in addition to the. See this side even better. See that? Can you see that? That white is not only from the untangled rope, also from the liquid. So you might use something more water resist to create this kind of marks. That's interesting. I think that's my version of Liu Kuosung's grass style landscape. I still have to decide which one is the front. Which one is the front? Help me. I think that the front looks, well, this one we need more work, right? If we, that's just like an initial monotype. This one is almost like a finished painting. And then I need to decide whether it's horizontal or vertical. Let's just keep it like that. That's my lesson for today. I hope you enjoy it and happy experimenting.
Thank you. Aloha.
Henry, I had one question for you.
Yeah.
Did you ever try a
Sure.
material other than sanded plywood? I mean, sanded plexiglass?
Originally I used glass. I don't have plexiglass, and it's not sanded. I think it's not sanded. You can still work on just a natural glass. Maybe there's some kind of smoke. What do you call like a glass door? It blocks the view. That kind of glass could be used.
Like an etched glass?
Yeah, it's like bathroom glass. I don't know what's called. The rough kind of surface. You can use a piece of brown paper, like those wrapping paper. You can even crinkle that and put ink on that and blot. You can use plastic, like I said in the beginning. You can use plastic instead of this metal sheets to protect our table, and also the plastic tabletop create the texture for you. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, you put the ink on the tablecloth, and then you blot it. I think that's more approachable, right? It's too sharp there. I try to make it natural. Okay, I'm going to sign this one as well. This one I'll just sign my own name. It's not a copy, it's inspired by him, but not exactly after him. And some full name. So this. This side. He used the common era instead of Taiwanese era or Chinese zodiac calendar. So he's very contemporary. He might use, yeah, I think that's what he used, 1964, yeah, just the Chinese number for the year. Okay. Okay. I'm going to end the class now. If you don't have
Thank you.
anything.
I think Henry's very interesting.
It's interesting.